podcast, and we have a multitude of audiences that join with us from various throughout various vehicles of communication. Obviously, those of you listening on our Impacting Life 24/7 broadcasts are listening via iTunes or Google or Spotify. And those of you that are participating with us on Facebook Live. Good evening, Dustin. Great to see you. Great to see you, Sam. And also our audience on YouTube, which is kind of the very first. I was using YouTube way back in the days. I probably should have learned how to monetize it, however you say it, and probably be a millionaire right now. But anyway, tonight is open mic Monday, and I've got to get out the way because I've been doing my broadcasts from a different location just so that I could be more around the family. And I come down to be where they are to do the broadcast, and then they leave. So I guess they get tired of hearing rambling on. So really what we're going to do tonight is what we have been doing for the last several Mondays, and that is taking on topics that are of importance to you, the audience that is giving me these topics that's on Facebook Live or on YouTube. You can always email them to us if you want to for the next show. But the podcast has been a really great avenue for us to continue to put out content and for us to be able to discuss things that are of import, not only to us, but also to the public at large. You know, being a professional speaker and traveling is great for your ego, I would suppose. Let me fix this camera here because I just look crooked. You know, going to a place where your name's on the marquee and all that it's actually, it's self-rewarding. However, the truth of the matter is that that's not always, happening for me. And so when I got to the height of my speaking career, I was speaking about 85 times a year and traveling thousands of miles and speaking to thousands of kids. And because I had to take some time off because of illnesses and surgeries, I am basically starting over. And so I was like, man, no one wants to hear what you got to say if you're not out there speaking to people. But I decided that I was going to try a different medium to communicate with society. And it's actually worked out really well. Our Impacting Life 24/7 podcast is taking on a life of its own. It's not super, super polished, like you would see on some podcasts. I like it raw, rigid, and rough and rugged. But I do, open myself up because that's what, everyone in society has filters on their phone and, tries to portray this image of absolute perfection. And the truth of the matter is that none of us are perfect and none of us have everything all together. And so if you're going to present something to people, I think people would prefer you to present it in your most authentic self. For those of you watching on YouTube, I have realized that to be the case. When I go speak in front of a large audience of kids, man, they don't care about all the things that I think the people who write the check care about. They care about, do I care about them? And so I have kind of taken that into consideration going forward. I tried to get a campaign going last Open Mic Monday, and it did not get much altitude. My birthday's coming up February the 6th. 1975 is when the Lord saw fit for me to come into this world. And I am trying with all vigor and veracity to get a campaign of people to sponsor a trip for me to go to Boone. Boone is one of our favorite places to go. We want to go there snow tubing, and I could go, but for this whole crew is going to be expensive. So I'm joking about actually trying to start a campaign, semi-joking. I really just want my wife to come up off of some of that cash she got and take me uh, the $2 that she has in her bank account and take me for my birthday, because I would do it for her. Don't you guys think that she should work out by every means possible to get me, her husband of that's getting ready to be 45 years, 25 years of marriage this year? I mean, why not? I mean, this is right. So anyway, are there any topics that you all want to discuss? Because what I do on Open Mic Monday is I give you an opportunity to say, hey, look, man, here I don't do any show prep most Tuesday through the rest of the week. I show prep and I prepare for the topic and I study it, and I'm usually prepping for the shows, not the day of. And so we've talked on everything from having guns in church to narcissism. I've had guests on dealing with how to overcome adversity. I've talked about child abuse. We have really ran the gambit of topics. And so I open myself up more on Open Mic Mondays because I don't prepare. And so if you bring up a topic that you want to discuss, we'll discuss it, as long as it's not something that's vulgar or derogatory or demeaning to others. I don't get into that, and I won't do that. But if you would like to discuss, like anything, why are there so many religions in the world, and topics like that, or did we really land on the moon? Those types of topics are sometimes what are sparking people's imagination. And I feel like they deserve a voice. And so here's what I do. I use my platform to allow people the opportunity to give voice to whatever is on their mind. And I think that's been healthy. I haven't been slammed so too hard thus far. And so I just try to do that for you, my listeners. I think it's pretty cool. But let me ask you this question, and what I do is, if I don't get any inputs prior to the show and I don't get any inputs during the show, then the show's relatively short, and I've got to get out the way anyway, because my wife has a live that she does for a business that she runs, and so I'm kind of standing in the way of her getting her thing done. Do you all think that a person who works, 80 hours a week, they give their all to their organization? How do you best demonstrate appreciation to them? I have been struggling with this for a while, because I've given several eulogies for people over the years, and eulogy is almost like a retirement, okay? Or a retirement is similar to a eulogy. What I mean by that is, when I had to speak about my foster mom back in 2013, the lady who took me into her home and rescued me from the streets of Cleveland, I had to do this in the time period that was suitable for human listening. I couldn't ramble on and on and on about how great she was. But yet, at the same time, how do you capture and encapsulate someone's greatness for so many years in a 1 hour service? How do you do that? How do you do that for somebody who's given their whole life to an organization? I am affiliated with an organization where people can work 30, 40, 50 years. And some of them retire and you don't even know that they did. And it's like, well, I don't want anything. I don't want to party. I don't want to whatever. Okay, that's fine. But man, have we as a society lost the art of appreciating people for their longevity? I am super big on being a creature of habit. Okay, I am. I don't like moving. I don't like changing jobs. I don't like any of that kind of stuff. I like for things to be the same. I mean, I don't mind upgrading, I don't mind upgrading, but I do like to keep things the same. If you follow what I'm saying, I don't. Man, moving is just about as stressful as having open heart surgery and not being asleep. To me, I don't like moving. Okay, anybody unclear of what I'm saying there? I can't stand moving, and so I'm a creature of habit. And there is something to be said about someone that has put in longevity. And I just feel like whether you agree with their position or not, or whether they didn't do anything for you or whatever, I'm just seeing in the professional arena that we are not appreciating people's longevity as much as I seen when I came into the workforce years ago. That it was a thing to retire from an organization after multiple decades, and I mean they went all out for you. And now you do good to get a plaque, or the gold watch thing is totally not even an issue anymore. And I just feel like rendering and expressing appreciation in that arena, as well as when we lose a loved one. Obviously, funerals can't go on, like I said, for 7 to 10 hours, but we've got to appreciate people, and I think we've got to do that more intentionally. I think it goes beyond just, well, hey, here's a card and all that. I think people need to know that we appreciate them. And I just am not. This is just my open mic rant for the night. I'm just not seeing that. I'm not seeing that in the professional world. I'm not seeing that as much in the professional world as I did when I began working many decades ago. That folks are appreciated. And then secondly, about funerals. Nobody likes going to funerals. Nobody does, y'all. I absolutely despise them. I would just soon not go. And I know that's bad, because you want to give honor to people as their life chapter closes. But I would say this: I think we should probably do more while the person's living. You know, I think we should probably honor the people more while they're alive. And I mean, I heard someone say this, give me flowers while I'm living versus, bringing them to bringing them to the funeral home while I'm dead. And I agree, because I give a speech. I would love for you guys to hear it, but I don't know when I could ever give it. I wouldn't give it in this arena. I give a speech entitled "You Can Never Unring a Bell," and I talk about the SAR bell. And it doesn't matter what you do in life, death is final, and if you believe in the afterlife and you believe in heaven or hell, then you're obviously going to go somewhere. But if you don't believe in that, or even if you do, the reality is that what you're doing on this earth has a hourglass, and sand is going through that hourglass. And so I guess I kind of answered my own open mic discussion. We can't do much about how we honor folks in a limited amount of time, but we can honor them while they're alive, and express to them while they're living, express to them while they're working. Hey man, I appreciate you. I see so much in the professional arena where everyone is trying to one up someone, and everyone is trying to get the upper hand on somebody. When really, man, we're human beings. This is, I don't know. I hope I'm not trying to paint this picture that I'm naive about society, because there is a real cruel world out there. But at the end of the day, I just hope that we could demonstrate love and appreciation to one another while we're alive. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to make way for my wife. This is probably the shortest podcast that I've done since I've been doing podcasts, but I didn't want to get on here. I'm very conscious of people's time, at least when I'm not being conscious of your time. But I don't, if it's not something that's happening, we're not going to force it. We're not just going to get up here and ramble. So I'm just going to say thank you all for watching. If you want to submit something for next week, feel free to do so. I will gladly make it a part of our next Open Mic Monday. But until next time, I hope everyone has a great evening. I hope that you have a great rest of the week. And if you would like, one last plug, if you would like to find a place that is a place for leaders, or a place to develop your leadership skills, or a place for you to contribute as a leader, I have developed the CL King Leadership Initiative. And if you'd like to be a part of that, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And all we ask is that we don't get on there and debate. It's not a political forum or anything like that. It's just about enhancing leaders and giving leadership enhancement tips. I'm doing 20 days of leadership tips right now, and I hope that they're helping people. So if you'd like to be a part of it, just message me and let me know. We'll add you to that group. It's free of charge. There's no small fine print. We just want to help other leaders. It's a repository, a safe place for people to go that want to develop their leadership skills. Thank you, YouTube, for watching. Thank you, Facebook. And thank you to our podcast on Impacting Life 24/7. This has been your host, CL King, telling you we intend to continue to impact one life, one day at a time. God bless you.
Dad,
What?
you should come up with like a catchphrase.
It is my catchphrase.